I don't think there's a team in baseball other than the Seattle Mariners that is capable of getting dominated by Joey Estes for 6+ innings and then actually looking somewhat competent against Mason Miller. All in all, it adds up to a Mariners loss. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners dropped this one tonight 2-1 to the Athletics. They fall to 35-28 on the year. They do lose one game in their division lead over Texas. They do maintain a 4.5 game lead, but that comes down from 5.5. Houston loses as well. One thing I've learned with these post-game recaps and daily recaps, I tend to have two ways to look at the game. Big picture, little picture. Big picture is what does it overall mean for the team? Little picture is just the game itself, just judging this game with nothing else attached to it. So that's kind of what I'm going to do for this video. I think it's a good way to look at losses as well. Listen, big picture, guys, whatever. Like, they weren't going to win every single game the rest of the way. And I know people are probably like, this was a terrible game. And I'm going to get into that when I talk about the game itself. Big picture again, they lost. Oakland's a better team this year. You win tomorrow, you win a series. I talk about it all the time. If you can win every series, which obviously you're not going to win every series, but you win series, you're winning 66% of your games. That is fine. Go out tomorrow. You got Brian Wu on the hill. JP Sears has been pretty good, but you got a chance to win a series tomorrow. Great. Go get it. Big picture, whatever. Little picture, easily like a top 5 most frustrating game of the season by far. Getting dominated by Joey Estes, who, is probably better than his 6 ERA indicates, but is still not very good. And then, pitching was fine. You only allowed 2 runs, but one of the runs was extremely preventable that you gave up. And then also some weird decisions in terms of pinch hitting and maybe what it led to later in the game as well. So really, like I said, I think this game specifically, I think sums up those two things so well between big picture and little picture. Before I dive into it anymore, do me a favor, hit that like button, helps out the channel tremendously. If you're new here, just lurking, hit subscribe. Leave your thoughts on the game in the comments section down below. So big picture, again, whatever. You weren't going to lose 27 games all year. The Mariners lost one. They're going to lose plenty more games the rest of the way. As I always say, you just hope the good moments outweigh the bad moments. So far, they have. Now let's talk about the game itself. And like I said, just super frustrating because Joey Estes is just not very good. Is he better than, I feel like I've repeated myself 35 times this video. Is he better than his numbers would indicate coming in? Yeah, probably. No pitcher is probably 6 ERA bad in Major League Baseball. They're all probably better than that. But there's no reason for that to happen. There's no reason for him to be taking a perfect game in the 7th inning against you, throwing 6 1/3 shutout innings. It just can't happen. I'm not asking for this team to score 15 runs. Not asking them to knock him out in the 2nd inning with 9 earned runs. Not asking for any of that. But asking for 3 runs over that 6 1/3. That's not crazy. That's not even a bad start for him. That would have lowered his season ERA. But the fact they get a 7th inning, they don't even have a hit or a walk. It's just awful. You can't do it. And they actually, I thought, had some good at-bats against Austin Adams and Mason Miller, and Natoli, I think, was the other reliever. I thought the Mariners actually had some decent at-bats against the bullpen, but you're not going to get a lot of runs off Mason Miller. Nothing tonight they did against Mason Miller was the problem. Julio gets the home run against him. Cal's a nice walk. Ty's a tough at-bat where he strikes out, and God bless him, but poor Victor Robles, his first at-bat as a Mariner against Mason Miller, you're asking for it in that situation. But the issue is what they did against Joey Estes. And not taken away from him, I never do. I've used the old saying, out of caps to tip. And, I've seen this offense shut down before. This isn't the first time, so I should kind of be used to this a little bit. But again, you see it happen against Chris Sale. Listen, it's going to happen. Even the Astros series had frustrating moments. Justin Verlander is going to get you. It's going to happen. But it's just that there's no reason to not get anything off of Estes. If you would have found a way to even squeak out 1 run, who knows? Game situations change, but Julio's home run maybe ties it. Maybe we're still playing into the 10th inning. So it's like, that's what makes it so frustrating. And I'm going to have moments I'm going to criticize Logan Gilbert because the Daz Cameron When he reaches, Logan throws over to first, throws away, he reaches third, then a wild pitch allows him to score. And I shouldn't be frustrated. Logan Gilbert was fantastic. But I have to criticize that because this offense can't do anything to, pick up a pitcher. Not even pick him up. Logan Gilbert was fine. Didn't need to be picked up. Just need to get a couple runs. Picking up a pitcher is when they give up like 4 or 5 earned runs in 5 innings. Logan Gilbert didn't be picked up. He just needed a little run support. And you're hanging him out to dry out there. So just super frustrating. A very frustrating game. In general, like I said, I'll dive into it a little bit more here, but it'll be a pretty quick recap. And then, some of the stuff Scott did tonight, a little frustrating. And again, I just want to be clear too, because I've had a couple people message me like, Jay, I want to see you get really angry and yell, or I wish you did more. Guys, it's just not really my style. I will get frustrated. When I yell, it comes off super fake. You can ask my kids when I've yelled at them. It just doesn't sound right. It's just not really my style. I'll get frustrated. I'm frustrated right now. This game was super frustrating. But if you're wondering why I don't get more, top of my lungs screaming, that's just not me. That's just not how I do it. I'm not hating on anybody that does. There's some YouTube channels I love, and these guys go on rants about their teams and stuff, and I love it. It just, guys, if I do it, it's going to be so awkward. It's going to be so fake. It's going to be, remember when John McLaren went on that rant when he was Mariners manager and how fake that sounded? That's what it would sound like with me. So just so everybody knows. Anyways, getting back to some of Scott's decisions. So he pinched, bases loaded, top of the 7th. A's go to TJ McFarland to face Luke Raley. Scott counters with Mitch Garver. I will say I'm surprised Mitch Garver's WRC plus versus lefties this year is 122. Now, we're talking small sample size. Not saying it was the right decision to pinch hit Garver. I was just mildly surprised it wasn't like 5, his WRC plus against lefties. I don't like it. I'd let Luke Raley take that at bat. He's swinging the bat better recently. I think you just kind of roll with the hot hand in that situation. No guarantee Luke Raley gets a hit there. So do I think it costs them the game? No, players still have to produce. And again, like Raley versus McFarland isn't a great matchup either. So, and in general, before the season, if you would have told me Mitch Garver or Luke Raley versus TJ McFarland, I'm probably rolling with Mitch Garver. But with how much Garver's been scuffling, I just think that's a tough spot to throw him into. I think you're better off easing him with more. It's kind of like a pitcher that's struggling, lower leverage situations. Now, listen, if Garver hits a bases clearing double there, maybe he gets his confidence right back. You know what I mean? So I get it from that perspective. But the problem is, too, what it also did is now you have Garver pinch hitting for Raley, and Victor Robles has to come in. That's fine. But guess what ended up happening in the 9th? Most important at-bat of the game went to Victor Robles. And that's another frustrating moment. Now, I don't expect Scott to manage 4 innings ahead or 3 innings ahead and go, gee, this could lead to Victor Robles having to bat. No, you're trying to win the game in the 7th inning. I get it. You're trying to get that big hit right then and there. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, and I get the splits and I get the platoon stuff. But Raley's hit lefties pretty well this year. Yes, small sample size, but so is Garver's. You know what I mean? Career-wise, yes, I'd prefer Garver in that spot, but he's just been scuffling too much. And even if you think he's the better player, it's just we're at game 63 now and he's been bad. I'm not saying Garver should never play or anything like that, but I just think it's a tough spot to throw him into. I love Luis Castillo, but if his ERA was 7.5 for 9 starts and you had a big game coming up tomorrow, let's say tomorrow is for the playoffs, do I think Castillo's better than Bryce Miller? Yes. But I'm starting Bryce still until Castillo gets it figured out. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? That's kind of how I view that at-bat there. And then not running Cal Raleigh, pinch running for Cal Raleigh in the 9th inning. Again, do I think it costs them the game? No. But if you have Bliss pinch run there, I don't know how good Mason Miller is at holding runners on. He is a former starter, so he's probably not as bad as most relievers are. But maybe you have Bliss run there. Maybe he's caught. This is why I say, I don't think it costs him the game, because Bliss can be caught stealing. You still might not score the run. But let's say Bliss does steal second. Now you're looking for a little bloop to fall in, and you get yourself, Robles a shot, and was it Canzone or Haniger after that? A chance to bloop one in there. So I thought that was weird, too, not running for Cal. My gut is that Scott was probably thinking, I'm going to wait till Cal gets to second base, or I'm going to run if Ty France, if he reaches for the go-ahead run, which again, fine. I get that. And again, I get that Robles grounded into a double play, but maybe if you have Bliss run there and he steals, maybe there is no double play and Robles is just thrown out. You know what I mean? So, or maybe it's an errant throw because the shortstop's throwing it. Who knows? It's like we talk about putting the ball in play versus striking out, right? Like at the end of the day, it's outs, but if you're putting the ball in play, more things can happen. So again, and Bliss might not have been able to steal. So no, I don't think that costs them the game, but it's just little things. And, in close games, those can rear their heads. Bottom line on the Mariners just played terrible tonight. That's the main takeaway in this one. So let's get into box score a little bit, then I'll get out of here. Logan Gilbert was fantastic. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, no walks, 5 Ks. Little annoying with the Daz Cameron in and gets the base hit. Logan throws it over. And of course, foul territory in Oakland is the size of the Pacific Ocean. So I'm surprised 8 runners didn't score on that throw because the ball goes off to who knows where in that stadium and allows Cameron to get to third base. I can be frustrated at Logan about it, but it's also like Logan feels like he has to make that play because he knows he can't give up another run. So whose fault is it really? I mean, it's on Logan. He threw the ball away, but I still put some of that even on the offense, right? Like, it is a little bit of that no faith in the offense type spot. My voice is starting to go a little bit. And then the wild pitch. So it's just frustrating because like Cameron gets the base hit. That's good, but they didn't really do anything else to earn that run. It's just the Mariners playing Keystone Cops and another run scores. But other than that, Logan, absolutely fantastic and deserved a much better fate. Mike Baumann has looked really good. He had a shutout 8th inning, which was also key. I'm going to give Baumann some credit for that shutout 8th inning because it forced the A's to use Mason Miller in the 9th again. Miller gets a 5-out save for Oakland. Had Oakland added on some runs, they might have taken Miller out. Now, you might not have Mason Miller available tomorrow, and Lucas Urseg is on the IL as well. So a chance to maybe get into the A's bullpen tomorrow if you're the Mariners, for sure. So that was good. A nice job by Baumann. Pitching was fine tonight. You hold team to 2 runs. You should win most games. Let's dive into the offense. Not much to talk about there. 4 hits, 2 walks. Again, less strikeouts, only 7 Ks. But, when you're getting 1 run, 4 hits, I'm not going to celebrate that they didn't strike out a bunch today. JP was 1 for 4, had the double. Rojas 0 for 4. You know what? Julio actually had a pretty nice game. First of all, 1 for 3 with a home run and a walk, and he hits a home run off of Mason Miller on a pitch 102 that was up in the zone. That was not a terrible pitch for Miller. That was impressive for Julio. As much as we've gotten on Julio and I've been critical of him, that might be one of the most impressive at-bats by a hitter this season in baseball. To turn that pitch around and to get it out of the park, just insane. Absolutely insane. That is tremendous. And just not only was that just tremendous, but to see it off an elite reliever, to see it in a tight game when you need an at-bat like that, that's what we need from Julio. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the yes, more of that. Julio being that hitter that if you can throw your best reliever out there, Julio's still capable of getting a hit. He did it a couple times off Josh Hader against Houston. He does it tonight off Mason Miller. So that was tremendous. And Julio had a walk as well. And that bat in the 7th inning where we normally see Julio flailing, trying to make the big hit, laid off some tough pitches from Austin Adams and worked a walk. So Julio was fine. Julio had a nice game today. And Logan Gilbert. That's about it. Cal was 0 for 3 with the walk. Ty 0 for 3. Luke Raley 0 for 2. Garver and Robles each 0 for 1. Mitch Haniger was 1 for 3, had a solid base hit. Canzone was 1 for 3, had a base hit on a breaking ball. Good to see. And then Dylan Moore was 0 for 3. So, like I said, good to see Canzone go down, hit a breaking ball, get a base hit off of it. Mitch Haniger, good to see a base hit. Haniger had a pretty frustrating at-bat, I think in the top of the 6th, I want to say. He had a 3-1 count against Estes and a pitch that was 3 feet off the plate, and he swings at it and grounds out. That was frustrating. You work the walk there. Maybe you get a little rally going, force Estes to pitch out of the stretch, get the tying run to the plate with nobody out, put a little pressure on him. That at-bat really frustrated me. But again, Haniger, one of the few guys that actually got a hit tonight in this game and got something going to start the 8th inning, which was good to see. But the Mariners couldn't capitalize on it. So, I mean, just a frustrating result overall. Listen, teams in first place, they're all going to feel frustrating. Every loss is going to feel more impactful. That's just the nature of being in first place and rooting for a winning team. is that we feel that a little bit more. And, this team's not a winning team that's 45-18 like the Yankees or Phillies. So their losses aren't so inconsequential that we can brush them off that easily. But they're frustrating enough because they're in first place that they add up. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So, listen, far from the end of the world. But just, this offense, it just continues to be, frustrating that they have some good moments. And I certainly, the last week has been much better, than previous weeks. But then it rears its ugly head here tonight. And I can live with it being inconsistent. I thought the offense was going to be inconsistent coming into the season. I just thought we'd see a lot more ups. I figured we'd get some downs like this. But I really like tomorrow, and I know JP Sears has been pretty good. I want to see this team have like a 4-run first inning. I want to see this team, get that lead and then add on a couple runs as the game goes along. I know they've done it a few times, but, and listen, I know those are outliers when that happens, but I want to see that more. There's so many games where it's like an hour and a half in and we're in the 5th inning already and this team is just doing nothing and we're hearing career high strikeouts for pitchers just aren't that great. And again, not trying to take away from Joey Estes, he pitched well. He did. He deserved a W tonight. If I was an A's fan, I'd be very excited about that outing from Estes, as would we if Estes was a Mariner. But overall, he's just not very good. So, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating because, again, I don't think any of us are asking for 10 runs off him. We're asking for 2. You get 2 runs off Estes, you probably win that game tonight. And, poor Logan Gilbert is dialed in. 7 innings, 2 earned runs should not be a loss. It just shouldn't be. There's no reason for that. The pitcher shouldn't have to not give up any runs. It's just frustrating. It is. So, chance to win a series tomorrow, bounce back, win the series, fine, not worried about it. Again, big picture, worried about this game? No. Am I worried about some things with the offense overall? Yes. That is for sure. That's why I think they need to make some moves, and I think they will. For sure make moves, but it is a concern. But am I worried about this loss being like, oh my gosh, this is the one that's going to break them? No. But in just the snapshot of this game, a very, very frustrating game. That's all I've got for you guys. Have a great night. Let's bounce back tomorrow. Brian Wu on the hill. He's been amazing. Get a W, win the series, go to Kansas City. That's going to be a tough series. I think you're going to face Singer, Reagans, and Seth Lugo. So, one thing I said jokingly on Twitter was that, Joey Estes dominated the Mariners. What more could Mason Miller do to us? Because everyone's like, oh, you got to face Mason Miller in the 9th. And they're right when they say that. But I'm kind of like, well, you can't do any worse. So, what's Seth Lugo and Cole Reagan's going to do to this team? Shut them out the same way Joey Estes did? If anything, those games I actually look forward to more because when we put up 2 or 3 runs against them, I'm blown away. So it's actually, I think I'd rather face those guys sometimes, to be honest. You guys know what I'm getting at. So have a great night. Go Mariners. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Get the series win tomorrow. Mariners still in first place, but man, this team is going to drive us crazy the rest of the way. They're just good enough to keep that. They're good enough to keep us locked in and watching, but they're just frustrating enough that we just can't be, like whatever to every loss. So have a great night, everybody. Go M's. Take care. Peace.